Hello, Saberland. So this is a Parks made Dusara or Ahsoka Tano hilt that I recently just converted. This one's for Shinsan out of Nihon or Japan. Um, I did this one like the last one. This is Crystal Focus version 6, but I learned some things doing the last one. There was something I really wanted to try on the last one, but I couldn't get it apart. So how Parks makes these is he has an inside tube, and inside that tube is a 3/4 inch tube for his battery pack and phase blade system. And the last one I did, I could not get that inner tube out. So this one I was able to right off the bat remove that inner tube. So this is a 7/8 inch blade that goes in. That gives me a little bit more room to work with as far as battery packs go, but it's still very, very tight. So just so you have an idea, I have two 18350s in here. So those go roughly about there. There's Crystal Focus version 6, probably actually right there. Crystal Focus version 6 sits about here. I have the last one I built has a little 2-watt speaker, a little 18mm speaker that I fitted in the tube where his phase blade system goes. But this time I was able to get a 2-watt rectangular speaker that I made a little speaker housing out of and a little dome protector for it. And they sandwich the CF and the 2-watt speaker right inside the 7/8 tube. I had to I milled out a slot because the CF is wider than this tube actually is. So I milled a slot, and it's about this long, right in there, so the CF can fit on either side of it. And so those two, the speaker and that, sit inside this chasm right here. Then I had to lathe down the heat sink for the Tri-Rebel, which is a green, red, orange, and the lens. So this time I didn't have to machine down the LED and the lens and everything else. I just machined the heatsink to fit inside the tube. And there's a small set screw that sits right under here to keep the heatsink in place. Touch plate activation. So this is your activation, and this is your aux right here. These are vintage Graphics pins. The replica pins that he gave me were long, so they didn't look so good. So I had to machine these vintage ones down. So they are vintage. When Parks makes his pommels are completely round. You'll notice that if you look at EFX Ahsoka or even the cartoon, the pommel is actually squared off on the bottom. So I put this in the lathe and squared it off, and I made a perfect spot for the recharge port and a couple sound holes. Now I didn't do a lot of sound holes, and the reason is that where the slot is here, where the 2-watt speaker, rectangular speaker sits, the sound emanates through the whole saber. So it's much louder than the last one I did. Not leaps and bounds, but it's definitely noticeable. There's SD card access through the pommel. You just screw this off. It's really tight, so I recommend that if you want font changes or something, please let me do it before I send it out. It is tight. That's all there is. It's just really tight. So getting the SD card in and out is not impossible, but it's not super easy. So there it is. Let me pull this kill key. I don't remember what font I have on there right now. Let's just cycle through them. Episode 4. Episode 3, Obi-Annie. Knights of the Old Republic. That's the Ice Saber, of course. Nova Star. Jaina, Sword of the Jedi. And Halcyon. Halcyon's pretty cool. This came on my Corn Horn. I believe it's a Mad Cow font. It's really cool. I really dig it. But let's go to Jaina. So touch plate activation here. There's that Tri-Rebel green. It is really bright. This is bright daylight right here coming through my window. Whoops. What I also did from the last one, I had the aux button up here and the activation back here. That created a problem because when you hold it, if you can look, just look how tiny this thing is. When you hold it in your hand, usually my palm would always hit the aux button all the time. So down here it doesn't hit it as much. There's that red-orange flash on flash. So originally when this came to me, it also has a couple scratches, a couple little scratches here and there around. But what I did was I took some 1000 grit sandpaper, then some 2000 grit sandpaper, and then some Cape Cod polishing, and completely took all those out. So it has a nice finish just as it should, and it's all set and ready to go. It is pretty cool. Let me pause it and I'll get some video of it in a dark room. It is very bright. Tri-Rebel, green, red, orange is pretty bright.